So before we go ahead and dive into the presentation, I want to go ahead and thank you for watching my presentation today. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and start with is Team Andrews' niche differentiator. So if we take a look, our mission statement states, we strive to synergistically work harder and faster than anyone in the sensor industry in order to create a well-performing and affordable product that will deliver good results. So our three key objectives are keeping our prices moderate, increasing our customer accessibility, and increasing our customer awareness. So our cost leading objectives. So we want to be the top cost leading company by reducing our costs by the end of the round. And then our second objective is attaining the high market share in the traditional and in the low end segments by round 8. So our first objective, which is being the top cost leading company by reducing our costs by the end of round 8, we wanted to focus on low and traditional segment products, allocate our investments strategically, but then we also wanted to maximize cost savings through TQM and automation. And then our KPI for that is reduction in variable costs, of course. So if you take a look at our variable cost graph, you can see that in round 1, we were at a high of 69%. And then we kind of went down, which is great. In round 7, we reached a 58%, which is almost like a 10% difference. And then our second objective, which is attaining the highest market share in the traditional and low-end segments and capturing customer awareness and accessibility to our products by the end of the simulation. So in order to do that, we introduced a new product, and then we evade the high-end, the size, and the performance segments in round 5, and then our competitive products, which is pricing and repositioning, and then increase investments, and so sales and promo. And then our KPIs, which are market share, traditional and low end segment, sale growths, we had increase in customer awareness and increase in customer accessibility, of course. So we're going to go ahead and look at all the graphs. So we have our KPI market share for traditional. If you take a look at round 1's bar graph, we could see that Team Andrews had an actual of a little bit, you could say over 15%. The potential was a little bit over 20%. And then by round 7, Team Andrews were at an actual of a little bit over 35%. And then the potential was a little bit over 25%. Now we're going to look at the bar graphs for the low end KPI market share. If you take a look at the round 1 bar graphs, our actual for the team was a little bit under 20%, and then the potential was a little bit under 15%. And then the round 7 bar graphs, we were at an actual of a little bit under 20%. Actually, no, we were at 20%, sorry. And then our potential was a little bit over 20%. Now we're going to look at the sales. So in round 1, we were, of course, at 119, but then we fluctuated throughout the rounds. We either went up or we either went down. But finally, in the round 7, we reached 190 in sales. And then taking a look at our customer awareness, which went up throughout the rounds, which is exactly what we wanted, of course. So in round 1, we were at a 50%. By round 7, we reached a 97% of customer awareness. And then for our customer accessibility, we were at a 44%. By the round 7, we were at a average customer accessibility of 91%, which is great. Sorry. So now as far as our decision-making process. So we kind of wanted to make decisions collectively as a group instead of doing it in a hierarchy way. So we didn't want each person being in charge of something. So one person of marketing, one person in finance. We kind of wanted to do all those together collectively and kind of basically being on the same page. We wanted to work together strongly and kind of move throughout the round, making decisions together. We did it as a debate. We kind of went back and forth. Each gave their opinion, argued, of course, a little bit. But in the end, we all kind of came to a somewhat same decision that we thought what would be great moving on to the next round. But if we each went our own way, we kind of were going to get confused and we wouldn't know what or where we are exactly. So we were excited and looking forward to kind of meeting as a group and kind of making our final decisions together instead of doing each on our So our strategy, which is the Porter Five Forces, so our competitive rivalry was high. The threat of new entrants was not available. Bargaining power of suppliers not available. Bargaining powers of buyers was high, and then the threat of substitute products, of course, was also high. And now let's take a look at our BCG matrix. So Alien goes in the question mark box. It was a little bit to the middle, and then Stars is also actually in the middle, but it's like like right next to Alien in the middle, but that was in Stars. And then if we take a look at Afton Agape, crossed out, it was in the dogs box. And then we have our Adam and Abel, which are cash cows. So we have those two in that box. And then moving on to the financial analysis graph. So if we take a look, we can see that our contribution margin, we started in round 1 around 36, and then we worked our way up, reached the 70,000 in round 5, went back down, went back up to 79,000 in round 7. And then if we look at our stock price, we see that in round 1 we had a $46.71, and then we went up and down. Of course, we fluctuated like everything does in any industry. And then in round 7 we reached $94.03 as our stock price. And then our net income. So in round 1, our net income was an 8,277. And then if we look at round 3, our net income was actually really low. We were at a 2,598. So that actually was not great. But then we made our way back up in round 4, and then in round 5 we were good. Round 6 we went back down and we had an 8,000, and then round 7 we made it back up to a 24. And then so basically our strategy for the next 3 to 5 years is we want to maintain a strong market share in the traditional and in the low-end segments through continually reducing our variable costs, our labor costs, and our material costs within the next 5 years. So that is, basically our goal. So our KPI is contribution and net margins from each product, growth and revenue throughout the simulation. Our second future objective is sustaining the highest market share in the traditional segment and gaining a larger market share in the low-end segment within the next 3 to 5 years. And our KPI for that is market share reports at the end of each round, sales growth throughout simulation, increasing customer awareness and accessibility. Now looking at our SWOT for our future strategy, our strengths is few cost leading companies, multiple products in the traditional and the low end, and then there's a potential market share in the traditional and in the low end segments. Our weaknesses, very high variable material and labor costs, and then we have a lack in the market diversification. Our opportunities, we introducing new products, expanding into growing markets, and investing in TQM. Those are actually our opportunities. And then our threats are low competitive barriers to entry, customer perception of products, and new products. And then, so our round 8 projections were, in millions, of course. Our sales was 206, profit was 95, and then our stock price was 100. So all the numbers I mentioned earlier were also in millions. Sorry if I said thousands or anything. And then, so what we learned as a group or individually, I feel like as a group, we learned kind of how to work together in the outside world. You could put it, and how to kind of not like kind of argue in a way, but kind of make it seem more like a debate than a fight. I feel like that's what we kind of learned mostly as a group. Individually, what I learned is kind of that, and also how to kind of think about what could possibly happen. So like possibilities, like, oh, if I change these numbers here in finance, this is going to happen. Thinking about what the other group might be doing, thinking about what this person is thinking, kind of giving options instead of just deciding and like just putting random numbers like, oh yeah, if I put this is how much it'll make. No, I learned that you need to study every aspect and every corner of the finance, of the marketing, of the R&D. Everything needs to be very well plan and kind of think like 10 steps ahead instead of kind of in the moment, oh, like this is what's going to happen now. So I feel like that's what I learned. And I also kind of built more kind of group work. This is the first, time doing something like this. So kind of this kind of showed me what it could possibly look like out there in the real world. So that's kind of what I took from this. And that was actually it. I hope you enjoyed my presentation today, and thank you so much for your time.